By 10 a.m., all the summoned CBT centers are all seated, waiting to know their fate. Registrar Chief Executive of JAMB, Professor Ishak Oluyede, and his team were well prepared with evidence of the involvement of the affected registrants. One by one, and according to states they belong, Professor Oluyede reeled out their sins with proof, while the culprits watch on. Then the JAMB boss had this to say.
You can't have two identical fingers. So the system will tell us right hand finger number 4 of Mr. X is there. Left hand finger number of Mr. B is there. And that's why we pick them. So it's science, it's not magic. It's not something you have done at random. You will just put the name, identify the owners of these fingers. And it's the system, we have the system, and it will identify it to the specific finger. Right, left, thumb, well, all this description will give us. We can give you the description. Everybody with his name, with his name, and with, so it's science, not magic.
One after the other, they took turn to explain their role in the fractions.
What do you want? Do you want to a job or do you want to invest? That's why I'm now apologizing to the JAMB Center that this is not deliberate, and we really apologize that we found it. We want to that this will not be repeated again. And the committee of inshallah will be forwarded to you.
Not satisfied with their explanations, the JAMB management reminded them and other CBT centers across the country the organization they are dealing with.
We register candidates annually over 2 million, and we have all the biometrics of those candidates. In the last 9 years, we have over 18 million biometrics of all the candidates who have registered. We can go back to our database and fetch for any incidents, crime, or anything committed by any of those candidates. Because it appears that some of the CBT centers are taking this thing as a joke.
I want to implore all our CBT center owners that is not just enough to invest in infrastructure, computers, building, generators. You also have to invest in your staff. You are doing a kind of activity that has to be properly registered with government. You have to train them. You have to be conversant with the Cyber Crimes Act and other relevant regulations.
Then the moment came for the stakeholders to be involved, beginning with former Lagos State Commissioner of Police Fatai Owusheni, retired. They took turn to admonish the registrants and the implication of their actions to the nation, while also appealing for forgiveness on behalf of the CBT centers.
Because when I look at the people there, most of you are young people. I may look young like you. I served the Nigerian police for 35 years, so I'm not as young as you. We are talking about Nigeria now.
It is unfortunate that you young, look at the faces of all these people. It is not a director legal or DFA that will perpetrate this. Only young men and women that are involved.
For a decision to be taken, a closed-door meeting was called between JAMB management and the stakeholders, which enabled the affected registrants to meet the press.
I think the reason why we came here is to know the way forward so such incidents will not happen in our centers anymore. I want to appeal to JAMB that whatever that has happened, be it network glitch or anything that's happened, we'll work on it, and I say we are very sorry as centers, and we look forward to work towards not allowing such things to happen around our centers anymore.
We have finished our investigations. The results, the action we have taken will be shared to the JAMB for their confirmation, and as such we are seeking for pardon, because this is our first time and we were not aware of such occurrence, and we promised that that will never occur again.
After a while, the closed-door meeting was over, and the recommendations are as follows.
On the registrant, that's the you that register candidate, the leadership. When I mean leadership, that's the leadership of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board with members of the stakeholders here. Is recommending as follows that any registrant who has registered more than 50 candidates should be delisted from participating in any activities of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board. And what that means is that such a person will not participate in any UTME exercise, will not be registered for the UTME even as a student, and will not be allowed to participate in any of the sister examination body, be it WAEC, NECO, or NAPTEP. And this is to be for the 3 years. The suspension is to stay for 3 years. After 3 years, the board will revisit it and look at the issue. If the register has shown any remorse, such a suspension could be lifted. And other registrants who have registered less than 50 will be warned, and they will be required to write letter of apology to the board, indicating that they will not be involved in such a thing again. Then for CBT centers, all CBT centers involved are to be warned, and then they will be asked to sign a bond, and beside the bond, they will also be required to give evidence of training of their registrar, and that training should be anchored by any of the university within their vicinity.
Professor Oluede, in his final submission, had this to say.
Examination malpractice is not limited to Nigeria. It's a global phenomenon. But that is not an excuse for us to tolerate it, because it's a menace, it's a cankerworm that can consume all of us if not checked. And the position of the Honorable Minister of Education is very clear about it, that it has to be fought with all strength. And the program today is to also let the public into some of the criminal activities of some of the stakeholders. And as can be seen, some of them pretend to be ignorant of the rule, but you can see that there are many gaps in what they are saying. But I think we will continue to fight at all fronts, and we have made appropriate recommendations to the Honorable Minister for Education.
For Asset Television News, I am Obike Matthew reporting.